Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The subject of our presentation is distance learning technologies in institution of higher education by means of LCMS Moodle. Distance learning is one of the most rapidly expanding sectors in higher education today. Distance learning development requires a consistent solution to a number of important tasks in the field of regulatory, organizational, educational, technical, software, and staffing. The interaction of all these elements of the distance learning system in the implementation of educational programs. One of the most important tasks in organizing distance learning is to define a scalable and viable strategy for creating an information and communication environment. The research presents a review of distance learning literature, the purposes, advantages, disadvantages. The experience of Kherson State University in the use of distance learning was summarized. Particular attention is paid to the implementation features of the KSUONLINE distance learning system developed on the basis of the learning management system Moodle. The legal framework for distance education in Ukraine was launched in 2000, when the concept for the development of distance education in Ukraine was approved. In Ukraine, there are a number of important laws and programs that regulate some issues of distance education. The legal base of distance learning determines the behavior of the teacher in the distance learning process, provides preservation, authors' rights, outlines the duties of a tutor, normalizes work teachers, provides material incentives teachers to activities in the field of distance learning. Distance learning has several advantages: to study at any place and at any time, independently determine the amount of information to be processed in a certain period, the ability to receive high quality, relevant knowledge, training in several directions at the same time, or combination with work. Also, distance learning has several disadvantages: limited practical tasks and assessment of the students' independent work, limited feedback capabilities, problems of plagiarism and identification, support for motivation to successfully complete the online course. The urgent problem is the use of distance learning technology in a modern Ukrainian university. The use of distance learning in higher education solves the problem of individualization, intensification, and optimization of education, is most logical and natural evolution of the traditional model of education. The main goal of introducing distance learning is to introduce new forms of learning into the educational process that correspond to the trends of global development and the formation of the information society. Many universities have launched distance learning platforms, most often Moodle. Currently, more than 70% of educational institutions use LMS Moodle. Most often, courses are used to support traditional learning or as blended learning. An important issue is the quality of the courses and their relevance to the educational needs of the modern generation of students. The purpose of the research is to define a scalable and viable strategy for creating an information and communication environment that supports distance learning in institutions of higher education. The tasks are analysis of principles and practices of distance education, technological and methodological aspects of the use of distance learning in institutions of higher education, description of the experience of using LMS in Kherson State University, development of courses and webinars to improve the qualification of university teachers in the field of distance learning, implementation of the KSUONLINE distance learning network of Kherson State University as the learning management system in institutions of higher education. Kherson State University has extensive experience in the field of distance learning, including the development, maintenance, and the implementation of distance learning systems and integrated educational environments. As a result of the implementation of the project of the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine at Kherson State University, the Internet Resource Bank of Electronic Documents for Distance Higher Pedagogical Education was formed. The university has Department of Support for Academic, Informational and Communicational Infrastructure Platforms, whose tasks are design and development of websites for different educational areas using open source systems, design, development and support of educational software, publication of courses in the distance learning systems KSUONLINE and Kherson Virtual University, consultations of the university staff and students. The Moodle system meets all the basic criteria for e-learning systems. Functionality that presents of a set of functions of different levels, forms, charts, analysis of the activity of students, management of courses and study groups, reliability, ease of administration and training management, stability, cost, the system is free, modularity, the presence of built-in tools for the development and editing of educational content, the integration of various educational materials for various purposes, support for the international standard SCORM, availability of a system for testing and evaluating students' knowledge online, tests, tasks, monitoring activity on forums, convenience and ease of use and navigation. Moodle still comes out as the top used system among the open source LMSs. It is important to understand that the modern distance learning course is not just a system of files with lectures, tasks, literature and tests which are loaded into the LMS. According to the UNESCO Diversification of Learning Platforms analytical note, The need to supplement LCMS functionality with Web 2.0 services is emphasized. The development of distance education at the university requires resources, including specialists for the administration of distance learning platforms, but the main thing is the teachers who will develop distance courses and accompany the educational process. Analyzing the state of development of DL in Kherson State University, it should be noted that the university has a system of regular seminars on the creation of training courses on each of the two distance learning platforms. Training courses for academic staff in distance learning were held. Quarantine has become a powerful external stimulus which has actually forcibly transformed educational establishments of various levels into the format of DL. A situation has arisen when teachers have started creating distance learning courses en masse. Many technical questions were raised in the development process as teachers have different levels of digital skills and different experience in using informational communication technologies in their professional activities. All teachers were sent emails via corporate mail with instructions for creating new distance courses. Afterwards, we were invited to host a Zoom webinar which was attended by 93 people. After conducting the webinar, everyone who signed up was sent letters with a link to the video recording of the webinar, links to two courses, workshop tutor and distance education, task requirements for obtaining a certificate, links to surveys to evaluate the quality of the webinar. In general, the statistics of the training seminar were as follows: 93 teachers enrolled, 58 participated in the webinar, 37 developed courses and sent a link of the course to the organizers of the training seminar. After the seminar, statistics of DL courses which were created in the KSUONLINE system have changed significantly. Conclusions and outlook. The proposed strategy includes the evaluation of distance learning training systems available in the institution of higher education, as well as distance learning activities developed and implemented in order to ensure more effective achievement of learning goals. Today, the relevance of the topic of distance learning has gained new strength under the influence of external circumstances. Therefore, there was a need to revise the previous experience of distance learning, including the system of advanced training of teachers, to find fast, effective forms of their counseling and training. Another important aspect is the creation of a system of motivational factors contributing to the development of distance learning, including the creation of a system of additional stimulation of teachers to create courses in the form of advanced training, a rating system to evaluate the activities of the teacher. It is advisable to introduce an internal system of certification of distance courses. Thanks for your attention.